Hey, how you doing today? We want to talk about, is there an SOS message being sent from one of the liberal justices on the Supreme Court to the American people? I'm Susan Lynn. I'm a psychic and a medium, and I read politics. I have a whole cadre of spirit guides that are here with me. Just hang on for a minute, and you'll see uh, them literally communicate to you through me. It's about 60% them, 40% me. It's a pretty good mixture. So let's jump in, right? So last week, or literally time does not exist for them. So when I say things like that, it's literally for you and me because they don't really care. But anyway, recently there was a leak. You probably heard about it, where the leaker said that initially this whole immunity thing was on Alito's watch. He was writing the opinion, and then all of a sudden it got taken from Alito and given, or taken from Alito by Roberts, not given to Roberts. It was taken from him, and Roberts is the one doing the taking. Now, we think this happened during the whole Alito upside down flag. My wife meddles in my very important highest court in the land business. Whether it's wife or husband, doesn't matter. Not supposed to have him. So, anyway, but this was leaked. And we now know that it came from somewhere within the Supreme Court. Did it come from a clerk? Did it come from a justice? This is what I'm interested in asking my spirit guides right now. I want to know, like, we've got three, I don't know why we want to call them liberal. I would call them normal. I don't think they're particularly liberal. I think that's really, I think really and truly they take this very seriously, and they don't have an agenda. So I just don't want to call them liberal, but I would just say the three women that are reasonable judges. How do they feel? What's going on? Who leaked this to the press about the shenanigans with Roberts and Alito? I also want to say this is for entertainment purposes only, because it's just my opinions. And, I'm just talking to some non existent, non physical energies. So, it is what it is. That's my legal disclaimer. So let's go on. When I go into this energy, the first person I'm seeing right now is Katanji Brown Jackson, and she has a headache. She has a splitting headache. I don't know if she gets migraines, but anyway, it's like in the front of her forehead. Anyway, listen, we'd have a headache if we were in her shoes. So she feels like, I don't know why, but she feels like the grown up in the room, and she's the newest one on the court. And I'm not putting down Sotomayor or uh or Kagan or anybody else. I'm just saying she just has this very wise energy about her. Also, she has this kind of parental energy. Like, I see what you're doing. You know what I mean? Like, you're not pulling anything over on me. Whereas I feel like Kagan and Sotomayor, maybe they've been battling it out for a long time, and they just or tired, right? Maybe that's why I'm picking up more on Kantanji than I am on them. But they're all three tired. I will say that. And they all three feel like we are at a crisis point. The word I heard was like needing an intervention. This is why I think that leak happened. It's sort of like nobody really knows what's happening, or Americans are asleep, which the spirit guides have talked about a lot. And we need to wake them up. Surely, if we sent out an SOS, someone would get it. Surely, if the American people knew what was happening behind the scenes, they would get very upset or vocal or whatever. And when I said that, I actually, when I was saying American people, I saw senators. So actually, this message was to the senators. This message was to Congress. This message wasn't to, I mean, great. If Americans got the message, great. Kind of like icing on the cake. Actually, this was a message to senators. So they want action. They want the word I'm getting is censoring of these judges of Alito. They want somebody to, come in and clear house, or at least send a message that, hey, we see what you're doing and it's not acceptable. This is unacceptable. Now, why the thing that's interesting that I want to ask is, can't they see that we don't have control of Congress? Oh, okay. They said they want to go on record. It's almost like you want to go on record in some way, even though they can't. See, they cannot, as justices, they cannot just go on record. They cannot call up any newspaper and be like, "Yeah, I want to go on record as saying I'm against this." So, having seen that the other justices leaked things, they're like, "This is our only recourse. This is how we're going to go on record." So that's why they did it, is they wanted it to be known what kind of shenanigans are happening behind closed doors. They wanted that to be known. And I feel like, and I'm not going to call anybody out because I don't want to add any more undue pressure to the situation, but I will say, and it wasn't Brown, but I want to say that, um what do I want to say here? I don't want to say too much, but I would say that, well, the energy is there. I mean, if it's there, it's there, right? Like, I mean, come on. So some reporters that cover the Supreme Court, that, like, that's their whole career. They do nothing but cover the Supreme Court. Some reporters have said that the clerks a clerk could have released this because the clerks end their clerkship, I think it's in June, and then this was leaked in September. So it's kind of has the right amount of time. Um, like, you wouldn't want to leak something, you know, the 1st of July, because it'd be pretty obvious, right? So there's been a few months, but I'm going to say that yes, there was a clerk that could have done this, but I'm also going to say that there's a judge on the Supreme Court that would be one of those three women that is ready to put her career on the line. Like, it's not Ketanji Brown Jackson. It's not her, but one of the other two. They're like, I I don't need to be a Supreme Court justice more than I need for there to be justice. And if I need to step down in protest, or step down and be able to speak freely, I'm ready to do that. You guys, this is the pressure cooker situation that's happening with those three justices. They cannot continue to operate within this not only broken system, but compromised system. And they're starting to feel like, by pretending that everything is normal and writing the dissensions and being on the court, they're starting to feel like, um, they're complicit. They're starting to feel like they're complicit. It's like the guides are showing me, if you're in a big swimming pool of dirty, nasty sewage, are you part of the sewage? You know what I mean? Like, that's how they think. So also, when I was saying that, I saw one of those. I'm gonna be, I'm not gonna say exactly who, but I saw one of those justices meeting with Kamala Harris. And I'm not sure if this is before the election or after. It's before the election. And when I say meeting, I don't know how that meeting, I don't know if it was face to face. I don't know if it was, hey, girl, what's up? Girl, you don't know. I don't know if it was text. I don't know if it was through an intermediary, but, and I don't know. I don't know. I'm just saying that some sort of message was sent to her. And look, it could have been Morse code for real. That it could have been encrypted. It could have been, probably was. But basically, the message was, we're at a critical juncture. The court is compromised. Like, and can't last much longer. You know what I mean? Like, we're running out of oxygen. We're going to die here, right? Justice is dying in these hallowed halls. That was the message. And I think it was signed by all three of them. So that's fascinating. I didn't know any of this. Again, I'm channeling. There's no note. Well, I did take some notes because I wanted to stay on topic. So far, not so good. But anyway, I mean, I'm on the topic, but it's been 11 minutes of one topic. I think it's fascinating because the other thing that I want to say to you guys is, and it really, this is what the spirit guides have the most energy around uh, regarding not only the Supreme Court, but the Supreme Court is sort of like an indicator of the health of our country. If you want to think about it like that, like if the Supreme Court goes south, well, democracy is pretty much on the way out the door with it. So this is the point of this channeling that I'm doing. So the thing that I want to say that the spirit guides feel so strongly about is that we I guess we're I don't know, we're talking about America here. I don't know what they're saying when they say we. Okay, because it is we, they said. Because they said, well, you got, the executive branch, you got the Congress, and then you got the voters, you know what I mean? So yeah, we have to also stand in our power and pick up the phone and call, call, call. So the thing that the spirit guides are upset about, or not upset, but this is where the energy feels the most vibrational, is that we have to do something about the Supreme Court. And again, goes back to the very beginning where perhaps we need to censor. We need to, when we get on our Democratic Congress, and you guys check your registrations and go VOTE early and bring a friend, bring your family. Don't stop talking about it. We need to keep our foot on the gas all the way to the day. Like literally, if you're out to dinner, take your post-it notes, put them in the bathroom. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you can put a post-it note in the bathroom of the women's room. It says, hey, when you're in the VOTING booth, vote. Damn it, you're conscious, right? Like vote. I wish I would stop saying that word. I'm going to bleep them out. Do the thing that matches what you want, what you feel is right. You don't have to do what your husband, your boyfriend, your dad thinks you should do. It's your version of what you want to do. You have the power when you go to do the thing. Okay? So keep, keep going. Keep doing what you're doing and do it, do it, do it. But so that's it. That's the we part, right? So the thing is this: when we get this Congress, and I think it's a mostly Democratic Congress. I mean, it seems like we have the majority. I don't think we're going to have a super majority. If we had a super majority, well, then this would be a lot easier. That's why we need the down ballot. We need all the blue all the way down. Okay, very important that your local, that your state offices, your federal, your senators, your reps, that they get in. Okay. So the thing is that, and this is so frustrating, but anyway, for instance, Ron Wyden, I think that's his name, super nice guy. Um, he has a new bill that he's put forth saying, um, let's remake the Supreme Court. Great. I think that's a great idea, except for that his his bill is it's such a Democrat bill, right? It's like, okay, we're going to allow only we're going to expand the court, but we're going to suggest that two new justices get put on the court every 4 years. So, let's say Kamala Harris wins, then she only gets to add two to the court. And then if she loses, then, in 28, a Republican gets to put two on the court. And then if Democrats win again, it's fair, right? Oh, it's so fair. I'm just here to tell you guys, there's nothing fair in this situation. And the spirit guides have said this many times, and this is a super important message that I want you to hear, because Again, you and me, we're the ones talking to people. We're the ones educating people. We're the ones doing the thing. Here's the analogy that they used recently, which is, let's say that your neighbor went into a coma and you were close to the neighbor, a little bit close. And so you stepped in because this neighbor didn't have any family, and you stepped in and you said, "Okay, I'll, prognosis looks good, but not for a while. I'm going to take your pets. I'm going to take care of them for you, right? I'm going to make sure that your electricity stays on, right? I'm going to help you make sure that when you get back out of this medical emergency where you're not able to take care of yourself, when you come back, your lights are on, your pets are happy, and you can get plugged back into your life." Okay? Using that analogy, MAGAs are in a coma. They're checked out. They're not dealing in reality. So why are we, Democrats, saying to them, let's make a deal. Let's be rational. You can have this and we can have that. You guys, there's no rational here. I mean, honestly, there's no rational here. The Democrats have to literally take the power and do the thing. And guess what? Democrats hate taking the power. They always want to be like, "Oh no, come on in, Mr. Devil and Mrs. Devil. I'm sure you won't eat my face." Right? This is our lesson. The spirit guide's been saying this for a while. Democrats have to understand the other side is incapacitated. To give them, or to give our country 8 years or 12 years to add the requisite number of judges in a normal situation, yes, sure. This is not normal. We have 4 judges, at least, if not 6, that are compromised on the court, the highest court. This is an emergency. You have the liberal judges sending SOS notes by leaking cases. This is not okay. Let's do it this way. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm sorry, it's not. This is an emergency. In an emergency, you really have to take control and do the thing. When whoever it is that gets, basically corrected from they get deprogrammed from their cult control, then yes, absolutely. This country needs to have 2 parties. Frankly, it needs to have 4 parties. And it will. I think in 28, we will likely have. That's a big jump, but I think it can happen. The spirit guides are saying it can happen. We could have 4 parties in 2028. The Republican Party could be in 2 parties, and the Democrat Party could be in 2 parties. Or it could be a really viable Green Party and a Democrat Party, and a viable sort of fiscally conservative Republican Party and a socially conservative Republican Party. Or, a cult Republican Party that then becomes this sort of hanger on outlier. So I'm not saying, spirit guides are not saying that the Democrats are the be all end all. I'm not saying that at all. Look at Mayor of New York, right? And we predicted that, right? The spirit guides predicted there's going to be Democrats that are going to be taken down. We've predicted that. I'm not saying Democrats are the savior, but right now, we're the closest thing to sanity there is. And I feel like we need to act with more urgency. That's it in a nutshell. We need to act with more urgency. And I think that you're going to see Kamala Harris act with more urgency. And I think that you're going to see, and I've said this before too, so this is also something the spirit guides have said before, but you might see a little bit of, I don't know how to describe it. I don't want to worry anybody, but there's a little bit of a disconnection between, say, a Speaker Jeffries and a President Harris. Speaker Jeffries is a little bit more conservative, a little bit more weight, Wait, let's check this out. We don't really want to. Do we really want to? And Kamala Harris has the urgency. She's connected to our energy. Our energy is we are in deep doo doo, and we need somebody to really act with urgency and directness. We don't have time. We don't have time for a 5-year plan or a 12-year plan or a 15, 16-year plan. For the love of God, we are talking about a couple of months. We're either going to keep our democracy or lose it. That's where we are. And I'm trying not to say bad things about Wyden. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying if this man can see the situation we're in and then come up with his solution is a 5-year, an 8, 12-year plan, I think maybe we need to go back to the drawing board and say, we got some justices in there right now. Let's call it what it is. We've got some justices in there right now that are compromised. My plan would be we're going to start censoring them. We're going to start calling them up. We're going to start really investigating them. So that's kind of something to pay attention to. And if you're in his district, call him up and congratulate him and say, hey, thanks. But what are you going to do about the crooks that are in there now? I want you guys to call him up and say, what are you going to do about the crooks that are in there right now? Put pressure on these senators, put pressure on your reps. If we don't pressure them, nothing happens. Everybody's still asleep. And I'll say this, the spirit guides told me yesterday, we're asleep until, they've used this analogy before, they reminded me. You're asleep until you wake up, and sometimes you wake up punching. Sometimes you wake up thinking somebody's trying to attack you because you were asleep. And now all of a sudden, something's on you or somebody's jarred you awake and you might be taking a swing. So you wake us up, we're going to be in the streets with pitchforks. That's it. Our choices are Kamala Harris gets in there, starts knocking some heads together in the Senate and the House so that we have very rapid recovery and rapid accountability. And if that doesn't happen, the American people are going to get in the streets, and nobody wants that. I don't want that. And that is predicted in the astrology. It doesn't have to happen, but the energy is there for it to happen. For instance, all the ingredients are on your counter to make a very calorie high cake. But if you don't make that cake, you don't have to, it doesn't have to happen. You don't have to eat all those calories, right? We don't have to have it happen like this. We can do it a different way. But we need to put pressure on the senators and on the reps. And I think this leak from SCOTUS, and we know who it was from, the 3 women that are normal, that are rational, that are sane, they're screaming for our help. Okay. So do what you can. Let's see what else. Oh, good Lord. So, really quickly, if you're in Virginia, there's this dude, Derek Anderson, who has a picture of himself with a beautiful family, a woman, kids. I mean, just beautiful. But in the caption, it says there he is with his friend or his family. This guy had to go out and rent a family. Come on, Republicans. You know what your people want you to have, but you don't have it, but yet you still want to be a Republican. You guys need to just hang it up and, get a new job, really. So I think that's interesting. Derek Anderson, if you're in that guy's district, take the photo, Google the photo, find the photo, screenshot it on my screen, and share it, because I think his constituents would like to know this. Dude, you don't have to rent a family. Just take pictures of you by yourself, right? I don't get it. I don't get them. Okay, interesting thing going down, and it's not anything to worry about, but it's indicative of a lot of problems that we have in general. There is a Russian ship that is carrying a boatload. For once, boatload actually makes sense, of fertilizer. Fertilizer is very pow pow explosive. And it's carrying this fertilizer and it's supposed to be leaving and going, I think, down to the Canary Islands, but no, it didn't do that. Instead, it started wandering around. And every country it went to, it would sometimes it pretended to have broken down by a country. And that country would say, no, you're not going to be broke down outside of our country with all that fertilizer that could go bang, bang. You got to move on. So then it would mysteriously be able to travel on to another country where this would continue to happen. And then it ended up in front of Kent, England, same thing. And, so the question is, what is going on here? Why is a Russian ship carrying all this fertilizer, wandering around, breaking down, or pulling up in different countries? And I think the first thing that would come to mind is, oh, it's a BOMB. They're trying to do something dastardly. And no, not saying that can't happen, but I'm saying the energy behind it is a threat. And, never underestimate a threat because it has a chilling effect that you really, you know what I mean? Like it really works. I hate to say it, but this is why they work. So, this is Russia going around saying, don't mess with us. Maybe NATO will keep us from sending a missile to you. But if our ship accidentally goes bang bang, and this would be catastrophic. The amount of fertilizer on this ship would be catastrophic. Okay, do you understand when I say that? So if our ship accidentally, we don't know what happened, it just went bang bang. This is so Russia. They never take responsibility for anything. And, the spirit guides are saying, these countries, it's the same freaking energy. Russia is on the UN Security Council. They shouldn't be on the UN Security Council. The Security Council? Russia? Okay. We have to stand up. These countries, which are all democratic countries that Russia happened to stop in front of, they all need to grow a pair and stand up against Russia, right? They need to stand up to the bully. It's the same bully energy. What is happening in the Supreme Court in the United States? Bully energy. What is happening with 45? Bully energy. You guys, it's everywhere. It's pervasive. It's our lesson. So in this case, these people need to continue sending that ship on its way. Or I kind of feel like, and maybe this will happen because this just came to me, is that somebody seizes the ship, meaning whoever grows a pair, finds their spine, rents one, don't know, don't care, seizes it, and then takes control of it. If you want to send your really horrible container ship full of bad stuff our way, well, I thought it was a threat, therefore I seized it. Sue me, take me to international court. I'll see you in 10 years. Start acting like Russia. What did the guides just say? The Democrats need to seize power. You cannot negotiate with terrorists. You cannot negotiate with criminals. You guys, this is the energy everywhere. We're negotiating with terrorists and criminals. We got to stop. We have to just acknowledge the fact that these people, especially in the United States of America, that are in our Senate and in our Congress, are terrorists and criminals. We need to stop negotiating with them. And we need to really hold our judicial system to a higher standard. And we need to stop. I don't know how. I mean, I know it's not that easy, but it's got to be done. Wasn't that easy to deal with Hitler either. You know what I mean? We have to do this. There's no choice here. There's no choice here. So that's what Kamala Harris is going to do. She's going to get in and she's going to turn up the apple cart. She's going to just upset the balance of power as it stands. That's probably going to cause some ripples. That's probably going to make some people feel some kind of way, especially Democrats that are like clutching their little pearls, going, oh my God, oh my God. Well, you know what? I hope she does, because clutching our pearls is helping us lose our democracy. Okay, let's move on. Walsall, I don't know how to say this. I don't know how to say it. Walsall Mayor Doug Denny dresses like a city employee and then gets a dolly and tries to remove a ballot box, and then takes pictures of himself doing it. That is breaking a law. That apparently is breaking a law. Why is this guy not in jail? Why isn't he charged? Why does the average citizen, and especially if you're not white, end up in jail for taking a pack of gum? What is going on here? What is going on here? Okay. Again, same energy, same energy. All these stories, and I did not choose them to be the same energy. They're all the same energy. Are we going to, do we have laws? Are we going to enforce them? Again, so um, P. Diddy is in jail for the same thing that in some ways, 45 did. Th- Okay. We see this. Americans see this. This is what I'm saying. We're only going to have so much humor. We're only going to humor this for so long. And if somebody doesn't start doing something about this, it's going to take one trigger. I don't know what that trigger is going to be, because free will, straw that broke the camel's back. One trigger, boom. It's an igniter. We are tender. We are going to be in the streets. That is not going to be pretty. We've got to start doing something. I implore you, if you're in a blue state, please become the worst nuisance of your senator that you could possibly be, and say, why are there two tiers of justice? Just pound them, because they don't have, and I'm sorry to say it, but they don't have the balls to stand up for justice. They're too coddled. And it's either we push them to do something now, and it's in a nicer way, or we're dealing with a lot of bigger problems. Okay. Woo. And by the way, P. Diddy is in the same cell now with Sam Bankman Fried. Did you know that? Yeah. They're kind of sharing a nice little cell together in one of the worst jails, apparently, in the United States. It's a jail where people routinely get murdered. And there they are together in their own little cell, because they wanted to protect them because they're two very well known, high value assets. So they put them together. And if that's not karma, I don't know what is. I'm not even going to read on that. One more thing, couple more things. Musk. Check this out, you guys. Elon Musk, it's been discovered, Ukraine discovered that in a drone that they shot down, that was a Russian drone, they discovered Starlink software in a Russian drone. So what's going to happen now? Is this the same energy, you guys? Let me see. Musk has contracts, government contracts, but yet his software was found in a drone that is sort of public enemy number 2 or 3 for the United States of America. Now, what is going to happen? Oh, of course, Musk is going to say, oh, I can't be responsible. People buy the technology and then they sell it on the black market. I just can't be responsible for that. But guess what? You can be responsible for that, because people are getting in trouble and investigated for accepting money from political action committees that, oops, we didn't know that money came from this country. You mean that's illegal? Uh-huh. Okay. You are responsible. So, in the very least, he should cease and desist. He should find out how his technology got to whoever it got to that got into a Russian drone. It's on his own. It's his own responsibility to figure that out. It's not our responsibility. You're a government contractor. We're going to hold you to a higher standard, right? So again, this is all stuff that's going to change when Kamala Harris is president, because Kamala Harris just doesn't have the patience. She gets the sense of urgency. She gets that this is a race against time, is what the spirit guides just said. We just can't keep doing this. We have got to play hardball with these contractors, with these senators, with these judges. Anybody who's not on the right side of the American flag, the Constitution, our laws, is an enemy. And there's no gray area here. You know, if a citizen broke a law and goes to jail, and an ex-president breaks a law and doesn't go to jail, that's not acceptable. This is going to be more and more fire for that tinder that could be the big pow pow in the United States. All right, good news. Let's talk about good news for a second. 79-year-old grandmother is walking up a trail. It is a difficult trail, she said so herself, but she does it every year. She feels like she's a very experienced hiker. She usually goes with family or a friend, but she didn't have anybody to go with her this time. She goes because she takes her ashes of her mom. Well, she took the ashes of her mom to this peak, and then every year she goes to honor it. It's sort of like, in her estimation or mind, it's like visiting her mom's gravesite. So she just decided, I'm going to do it. I do it every year. It's not going to be a problem. She got up there, mission accomplished. Coming back down, she missed up and broke, I think, her leg. And she knew her leg was broken. I mean, it was definitely pointing a different direction. She started yelling for help, at which point people heard her and came to her aid. A pretty good group of people, actually. And one of them was a group of 3 people. This one man is in the service. This woman looks, you know, she's petite. You know what I mean? She looks probably on the shorter side of petite. And he said, I can carry you down the mountain. And he did. But before he started, these people were out walking this trail. More and more people kept coming. There was a physical therapist who happened to be there. She splinted this woman's leg with some like sticks so that it would not, you know, get out of, you know, be broken more or somehow be damaged more. There was also an OT, an occupational therapist, who showed up and walked down the mountain with the woman, breathing, like trying to help her with the pain. Because think about being jarred down a mountain as you're being carried. The pain was incredible, and no one had any Advil, nobody had anything. So this woman was helping her with breathing exercises. This guy carried her on his back. He started to get a blister on his heel from the extra weight and being off balance. Another guy coming up the mountain, whose shoe size was the same size, gave him his shoes. This is all documented. He put on this guy's shoes, stranger, kept walking, got most of the way down the mountain, and then his friend, it was 2 guys and a woman, another guy carried her the rest of the way. They carried this woman down the mountain with all these other people chipping in, including somebody giving the shoes off his feet. You guys, we are okay. We are okay. The people who are not okay are lying to us, are abusing power. And American people across the world, we don't want war. We don't want this type of leadership. We want to live in peace. And the guides have always said that. And if our leaders cannot protect us, if our leaders cannot be in our vibration, then we're going to get rowdy. But we are okay. Humans are okay. We're simply looking at this very small group, this very small subset that has wormed and squiggled and slithered their way into power. And they're trying to make us believe that we are just like them. Just like what the spirit guide said about the Supreme Court justices. They're feeling like they're in the swimming pool with the sewage and the slime, and they're starting to feel like they are sewage and slime. We're not. They're not. We are not like them. We are good people. People are good. We just have to deal with this small group of assholes. And we will. Okay, let's see if there's anything else. I think that's it. I think that's a good place to end this. We're just going to deal with these assholes. And we're gonna be okay. But it's a constant thing. Democracy requires constant maintenance. You know, your car requires gasoline or electricity to go anywhere. You're not just going to go anywhere if you don't have some way to fuel it. We are going to be involved. We're going to be more involved. And we're going to make our wishes known. We're going to continue to do that. And we're going to continue to make sure that our leaders represent us and not some small group of people that are evil, right? We're going to do it. Take really good care. Subscribe, like, share the video. If you would, leave me your comments in the comments. And I'll see you again real soon. For entertainment purposes only.